the Sharia over there, and then I came back.
Jordan.
In Damascus.
Syria.
And then I moved back recently again back. This is actually the house. That is my
At
childhood
Bokaap.
home.
Okay, interesting.
So this street here is called Halikalan, and just on the other side, 2 streets away, we have the Owel Mosque, the first mosque in South Africa, the oldest mosque. So alhamdulillah, I was just so surprised when Mr. Kamadin said that Excellency was interested in the book, and I was thinking, my book.
Because we always have interest in Cape Malay community, and in Indonesia as well, we don't know much about Cape Malay, so it's interesting for both sides, especially for Indonesia. They don't know that Indonesians are actually the ancestors of Cape Malay, who came 300 years ago, and not only as political exiles but as slaves as well. Yes. But only some Indonesians who live in eastern part of Indonesia who knows about Sheikh Yusuf. But the rest of Indonesia, we don't know anything. Even we ourselves, this is our first time to Cape Town and South Africa. We don't know about Cape Malay until we arrive here. Oh, okay. And when we visit those kramats, we feel at home. We just like visiting
like a
places
connection.
in Indonesia. Family. Yeah, it's like we are in Indonesia. When you visit vineyard, it's completely different vibe. Exactly.
And are there also the kramats in Indonesia?
Yeah, many like Aulia, we call it Wali. Wali Songo. We have 9 walis because they spread Islam from Middle East, but then they incorporated local culture, Japanese culture, and they spread Islam through wayang, the puppet, like the one we have here. So they use that to spread Islam. So the values are Islamic, but they blend it with Hindu tradition of playing puppet. Yeah, the puppet.
So they use the puppet as a means of da'wah.
Yeah, that one. So it's interesting.
In the past.
Really? Because I've always seen the puppets plays a big role.
Yeah, this is the puppet. At the beginning of the puppet story, the Dalang, the puppet master, do you know why they use this? This is the beginning of universe. So the creation of alam semesta, not dunia yet, because God, Allah, is creating this. You see, this symbolizes the whole universe. Yeah, Lauh Mahfud, and also the creation of earth with both evil and good spirits, and then comes the actors. So this is why where they spread Islam, the 5 principles of Islam, Shahadat, with this. It's interesting.
And how long is Islam? Sorry.
Islam 1500. 1500.
Much longer than.
Yeah, much longer.
Yeah, earlier. 1500. Yeah,
1500.
1500.
So that was immediately after.
Yes.
Very close to Saudi.
Oh yeah, because we were the largest Hindu Buddhist country in the world at that time, with kingdoms, Hindu kingdoms. But then came this Wali Songo and all the traders, Islam traders from Gujarat, India, and from Yemen. But they came peacefully, not with swords. So we embrace Islam through peaceful means, through that one, not through war.
And then that's why Sheikh Yusuf, when he was in Sri Lanka, because Sumatra is just 60 kilometers away from Malaysia. But the main thing is, because Sheikh Yusuf was in Sri Lanka, everybody like President Mandela, they would first ziyarah him on their way to Makkah or returning from Makkah. So that's why the VOC authorities got very edgy, because his influence was still very strong, because people would stop over in Sri Lanka. But even here at the Cape, the one dimension which Wafika Martin, why the book is so important, is not just Tuan Guru and the khutbahs that he has given, but it's the social and cultural dimensions of how Islam was spread amongst the non-Muslim slaves. Because Ratib, which he also covers in the book, the tabus was also one means of attracting newcomers to Islam at the Cape during the Dutch period.
Yeah, we use that as because, like Tuan Guru, they came as Tuan Guru wrote in his kitab, this is a land of sorrow. They did not come happily.
Yeah, that is so powerful. When
we need protection.
Yeah, when that particular message of Tuan Guru, he calls the Cape a place of sorrow, a place of sadness, and I always tell people, imagine people in the tropics in the Malay archipelago gets transplanted to the Cape in these Mediterranean winters here. And then slaves were not allowed to wear shoes to make a distinction between themselves and the slave master. The slave colonial order insisted on that in terms of the slave code. So the late Professor Robert Shell, he says how the Malay slaves bypassed that restriction was by wearing kaparangs. So then their feet are so their feet is protected from the cold of the Cape.
But not shoes.
But they're not breaking the law in terms of leather shoes.
Interesting.
Very interesting dimension.
One of the words that we use.
Oh yeah.
Was to say well, bacha.
Oh yeah.
Lagu.
Also hamil also, yeah.
Hamil.
Yeah, hamil the same, yeah.
Meninggal. Sembayang. Lebaran.
And a lot of words, and I never know, because we grew up with these words. It was just normal for my father to say, "Did you make sombayang?" And we just thought it's an Afrikaans word.
Oh, okay.
And when I went into the book and I realized, but this word comes from the other side of the world. And for years we would hear this word said, even laparang. But now I actually wrote the book to preserve a lot of those words. Because what is happening now with the influx of other cultures and other languages, especially with the Arabic language. And although, alhamdulillah, the Quran is in Arabic, so we have to study the Arabic language. A lot of the words that we use in the Cape are being replaced by the Arabic equivalent. So for example, terima kasih, we now say shukran. Laparang, we say Eid. Bokaap. Puasa. Iftar. Now we say iftar. So I have two sons, alhamdulillah, and I just wanted my sons to remember. This is how we actually grow up. Because as time passes, they will not use those words. So that's why I added at the back of the book is a glossary with the explanation of each word.
To preserve.
To preserve it.
When were you born, if we may ask?
I was born in 81.
81? Oh, you still experience that?
Yeah.
I thought like terima kasih is a dying word.
No, we actually shortened it to kasih. There's terima kasih and there's kasih.
And baya daki is from banyak.
Baya.
Wow. Yeah, banyak is Indonesian for many.
And the fact is that I spoke to another writer, and his words, 800, I think it was 800 words, and he has even more words than the words that I've used, because the words that I've used were words that I worked into the stories. So we had to bacha, we had to make our list farm. Make it farm means revise. And even the way we learned to recite, it was alif, and then we say we like letters. I don't know, buah, dapan,
buah fruit.
Yeah, no, for the alif bata.
Oh, alif bata, yeah.
And the bata. So it's dapan and bawah.
Oh iya.
Bawah B.
Atas A, bawah U.
B is bawah U, that one.
Yeah, that's how we learned originally before we went to madrasa. Now is it madrasa, now is it the Arabic one, but the vocalization was the old Malay way.
It was so difficult because it was a song.
Yeah.
they
We
made
have
the
to sing
song.
the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way we were taught as kids.
Okay.
Yeah, we were taught
Alif
like
A,
that.
apa bawah I,
Bawah I,
bawah
depan
I,
U,
depan
Depan
U,
U.
depan
Yeah.
U,
Depan U,
A,
yeah, yeah.
I,
Oh.
O.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it was a song.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
you didn't actually understand, but you just sang the song. You just sang the song. But it's even a lot of our, we say merang,
Merang. Yeah.
marang,
For
feast.
Feast.
oh, feast.
Like a merang.
Merang. Feast.
Merang.
A party.
Like a
Yes.
party.
Party.
We're gonna have a merang. So when you use the word merang, it means like a big feast that we're gonna have. So a lot of the words, it's not Afrikaans, it's not English.
No.
The basis is, but with that came, with the words, and I spoke to that we spoke about this the other day. I said the words and the language carries the culture. And the minute the words and the language goes, and the culture also goes with it. So we have to. I'm always trying to desperately preserve, and even our cuisine, the way we made food and the spices. That our forefathers and our foremothers, great grandmothers, they added in. It wasn't in Cape Town. And there was no spice here. It was brought over.
Like
So,
achar.
acha and all those things, it was brought over. So alhamdulillah, I just wanted something to next generation can remember.
We
You want to
even
sign
have
it?
Yes.
in the old Cape Malay dishes there's ching chow.
Cincau,
Oh,
yeah,
cincau,
yeah.
Yeah, we also have it in our Cape Malay cookery books. Or at least one.
Maybe we can just
And the one Chinese student from South African.
Can you take a